left a little bit.
Why is it in the microphone?
That's not any better.
Pickle Rick.
How's that?
Not any better.
Pickle Rick.
Wow, your video is just terrible.
Whose?
Why is your internet so bad today?
Mine?
Yeah.
I have no explanation to why.
His wife is watching porn right now. Oh wait,
So is
we're
my
live.
wife.
All right. Are we ready to go? Okay. Sony introduces the 3.5-inch floppy.
He started with
Apollo
so,
Computer
so we have to drink.
You started with so.
unveils its first workstation, the DN100. The first magazine publication dedicated to video games, electronic games. IBM introduces the first PC, which they released with, guess it, hold it, Microsoft DOS. And Osborne 1 releases the first portable computer weighing in at a whopping 24 pounds. All this happens in 1981. This is episode 81 of PHP Ugly, the portable edition. Welcome, gentlemen.
I thought you weren't using years if you could avoid it.
You know what else happened in 81?
I fall back on years when people call me and say, hey, let's record a day early like we did today. Why am I here tonight, John? Why did I have to look up a year?
Well, it turns out I'm not going to be here Thursday night when we normally record because my wife and I have been together 21 years tomorrow, so I think I better take her out to dinner and not hang out with you guys.
21 years is nothing.
Lame.
We've done this is 81 episodes.
We're legal. What are you talking about? It's good.
That is
Yeah.
What did you get her? What did you get her?
Nothing. It's dating.
She
It's not
won't-
married. It's dating.
Oh,
Your date anniversary. You're celebrating your date anniversary.
You're not that guy. You're not that guy.
I am.
Stop it. I told my wife that she forfeits the date anniversary when we get married. Like that gets nulled. The day I say I do,
we don't normally
do that.
We don't normally celebrate it. Her parents happen to be in town. They can watch the kids. We're gonna go out for a nice dinner, and it happens to be our date anniversary.
To be
And it's
fair, I
21.
celebrate mine every year as well, but that's because I got married on the same day.
That's pretty smart, actually.
Yeah,
That's one
no,
way. That's one way to. Yeah, that's one way to handle it. Yeah.
yeah.
Well, I tweeted out a fun fact about the wife and I's first date this week. Well, it was last week, Friday the 13th. The wife and I started dating on a Friday the 13th. It was March, Friday
Explains
the 13th. But
so much.
yeah, I know. It's why we're so awesome together.
And I get to hear the story every Friday the 13th. Would you want to
Thomas,
share
what else happened in 1981? What else happened in
I was born.
1981, Thomas? Don't care. That was
I
a
know.
horrible. I shouldn't have even asked the question.
I
So
know.
going back to your intro, you said Microsoft DOS. I don't think I've ever heard it called that. Was it? Did Microsoft really own DOS?
Yeah, it was MS DOS. Yeah.
Oh, you're right. It was MS DOS. Damn, I'm stupid.
Although,
Nah.
was it Microsoft in 81 or was it the original creator?
No, it was Microsoft. Remember
I've
that was
always-
the whole thing.
I always knew it as MS DOS, so you're right. I just never put
Yeah.
two and two together.
Yeah, it was Microsoft. That was Microsoft's big big in, right? They went to IBM. IBM was working on this personal computer. Microsoft was like, well, let us do the software. And eventually IBM said, there's no money in software. You can do the software. We're worried about the hardware. That was that whole thing. So they wrote the DOS for this IBM PC that was released that year. The good old days.
It was the good old days.
What do you guys have a computer either you did own or you always wanted to own from your childhood that you didn't get a chance to own that like brings back those memories?
I do have a computer that brings back memories, but I don't want one.
What is it?
I don't own it. We've talked about this before.
The Amiga. The Amiga
that's
2600.
classic.
Yeah.
That's a classic. Yeah, that was the one. What was yours, John?
The Cocoa Color 3. Tandy Cocoa Color 3.
I don't. We talked about this before.
Recently.
Oh, yeah, I was a big Cocoa person. Yeah, that was my. It's funny. I pulled up. So I said so. Hold up. I love this rule. So I was a Radio Shack kid. Did the Cocoa computers? Those were the cheaper personal computers, but the Radio Shack computer I wanted. We had the TRS-80, the 64-bit Model 4s in the school. Those were the ones that had the dual floppies on the side, which was that was so badass back then. But the one I wanted, and I'm trying to find it now. Here it is. Oh yeah, the Model 100, the TRS-80 Model 100, which was the Tandy portable computer. It had a screen on it that was about 4 lines long, and I think it was 80 columns wide because, as we learned on episode 80, the punch card thing was 80 columns. So these things were typically 80 columns long. But it was the portable computer, and it was the first, in my opinion, the first real portable computer that you could put into a backpack and carry around, that it wasn't its own suitcase. And I saw that thing come out, and I'm like, I want that. That was one of the computers I always wanted as a in my early years of doing computers that I never bought. So I went to eBay today.
Did you really?
And these things are actually available.
Yeah.
I'm thinking about buying the whole suite. So I can buy a Model 102, which was the upgrade to the Model 100. I can buy a Model 102 for $31. I can buy the old Cocoa Computer 2 for $75. And I can buy a Model 4, which was the big terminal with the dual floppies, for $150. I could have all the computers I thought I would ever need, ever dreamed about as a child. I could have for what was that?
Way less than you pay for a laptop now.
Less than I pay for a phone now. Are you kidding me?
Phones have gotten ridiculous. Yeah. Oh my goodness.
I might have to do this, man. I actually think I have a Cocoa.
But since you mentioned eBay, getting it on eBay,
not actually using it.
I told you we need to get a office where we can have displayed all of our legacy hardware. That is my goal. If for no other reason, that's why I want an office now.
I need extra expense so I can display all my crap. That's
right. I want it. What were you saying, Thomas?
I want an SGI O2, an SGI Oxygen. Because I remember seeing one at a trade show event and just freaking out about how amazing it was.
SGI being Silicon Graphics?
Yeah. But getting one that's working,
oh man,
getting one that's working still is very expensive.
No, $300. This one for $1,000. They show a screen.
No hard drive.
That's what, $1,500 here. I didn't even know eBay was still a thing. I might actually have to pull a trigger in a few of these.
But I don't think they do as much auctioning as they used to. I think it's more like just a marketplace.
Yeah.
Oh, really? So it's not
Yeah.
the wait until the last minute to place your bid anymore?
Nah,
God,
nah.
those were the days.
I don't know.
used to
No.
I
love
haven't been
that.
on in years, but
It's
they've
funny.
gone away from that.
It's funny that you bring up archaic old hardware because I had an archaic old hardware problem recently that was a bigger problem than I thought. So one of the running jokes at the end of the podcast is once everything starts to upload to Dropbox, my video and audio cuts out completely. And I knew that I was running old wire and old switches and everything, but I didn't realize how old it was. So it turns out that my laptop was running at 10 megabit Ethernet.
10.
Yeah, 10. And my desktop was running at 100, and my other computer in my house was running at 100, which was causing things to bottleneck pretty quickly if my it also turns out I was using a hub, not a switch. So my 10100
10100 hub.
yeah, my 10100 hub would start choking pretty quickly if a YouTube video was too high quality or anything like that.
God, that brings me back.
So I dropped the cash for a switch, a gigabit switch, and some replacement wire.
So you
Came out
spent
to
$20.
$16. And immediately everything is better and faster, and my computer, which I thought was on its last legs, is now running great. And yeah. And you know what I did with that old hardware is I just threw it in the trash. I was so proud of that moment because the network was built off of my hoarding skills. You know, everything that I have computer-wise is just components I've had for 20 years and then added a piece to it.
I go into my Tupperware that I have all my equipment in. I'm like, why am I keeping all this stuff?
Same. I've got like these old VGA cables. It's like why do I? They don't even make these anymore.
But I'm afraid to get rid of it. I'm like, I'm gonna need this one day.
Yep.
You're working on with a hub that's lower speed than most home internet accesses now.
That's lower speed than last generation's Wi-Fi.
It's hilarious.
Lower speed than my first cell phone.
Speaking of Wi-Fi, did you guys hear about WPA2?
I did hear about this.
It's been cracked.
Yeah.
It's fun to listen to the news people talk about it.
Why?
It's funny to hear them, like, they'll say WPA2 and it's like, you don't know what you're saying, you're just reading off a teleprompter.
That's true. So how big of a deal do we think this was or is? How big of a deal do we think this is?
That's not.
You don't think so?
Nah. I mean, it's not for me.
Yeah.
And it's not for consumers. It's a huge problem for corporate security. And
because
it's
they won't
yet
keep
another
their stuff up to date.
Right. You know, unless it's being run by Equifax. But it's, you know, the end result is we already promote using SSH connections and secure websites, and you know, that's just stay secure.
You got to hope that the manufacturers are going to push out firmware updates.
Already did. Apple and Microsoft have both already patched it.
I'm sure Google has as well.
Yeah.
For Android.
Yeah, it's
okay. Speaking of security, did you guys see my tweet today? I'm sure you guys follow every one of my tweets.
I did. This is hilarious.
Oh God. First off, why are you at the doctor's office?
Oh man. Oh dude, that's a whole nother story. I've been battling some issues, some health issues, mainly around my ankle and now my knee, which is are a whole new level of pain. I've been in so much pain for so long on this, and it's just been getting worse. So I've been going through physical therapy. I've been getting MRIs and X-rays and all that. And this was a follow-up. Just it's so idiotic. You go to the doctor just so he can tell you, okay, it still hurts. All right, do another 8 weeks of physical therapy. I'm like, why did I waste my morning come here for you to tell me that? You couldn't have just told me that over the phone. I mean,
meanwhile, the physical therapist is saying you need surgery.
Yeah. So yeah, but needless to say, these guys aren't the smartest, because for the listeners who don't follow my Twitter stream, which I'm sure there's might be one or two of you out there.
By these guys, he means doctors.
I am sitting in this exam room, which is like the exam room. I wasn't hauled off to some private room somewhere special that they keep troubled patients like you would think they would do for me. No, this is the general exam room. And I look over at the monitor because, it's unlocked and my X-ray is there and all my medical records are exposed. So I'm like, hey, look, they have all this unlocked. That doesn't seem secure. And then I look underneath the monitor and there's a little post-it that says username, password. It has the information right there. I'm like, well, good thing it wasn't locked.
Nice of you to take a picture and then tweet it.
Yeah, I thought it was important.
No, he blurred out the username and password, but he also blurred out the X-ray, which just makes it look like it's an X-ray of his penis.
I did. Well, I was blurring out the personal information, and it was just because of the angle I took it. It was just easier to do the whole screen. So, Good.
No, you first.
I said I was also polite enough to blur out the name of the medical facility that was on the poster behind it. I thought that was very polite of me.
That was. Now the next question is, did you do white hat security and tell them, hey, you shouldn't have this written down on a post-it note on your friggin' screen right in front of us?
No, I did.
Yeah,
why not?
Something does tell me that violates a HIPAA compliance rule.
I was so pissed off when he told me to do 8 more weeks of physical therapy. I'm like, I can't right now. I can't even handle this. I'm seriously considering selling my motorcycle at this point because I can't ride it. I haven't been able to ride my motorcycle in probably a year, and there's no end in sight anytime soon. So I'm very likely going to sell it at this point. I don't know why I have it if I can't take it out. It's frustrating.
Well, just give it to me.
Not to mention all the pain I'm in.
I'll take it.
I'll make use of it.
I'll give it to John.
No, he's got kids. I'll take it.
What? Hey, quiet, Thomas. I need that. So speaking of being pissed off, I get I get a letter in the mail. Sorry, I'm typing into Trello as we speak, and I shouldn't be. I get a letter from the state of California saying, oh, by the way, you now owe us $250 for failure to file paperwork for your business.
What?
Yeah.
How can we get these letters every year? What the hell?
You're supposed to pay for your business.
You do. Believe me, John is very.
It doesn't sound like it. Sounds like you keep missing one of them.
No. Last year, 2016, you have to file paperwork every 2 years. Is your statement of information, wherever it is. I filed it last year after I moved, and state of California charges you $20 to change your stupid address. And I fill out the paperwork. I send in a check for $20 to change the address, and I forget, but they found something wrong with the paperwork, and they returned it to the place I no longer live.
That makes sense. How else are they going to get you to pay $250 for a $20 change of fee?
The landlord, like months later, says, by the way, I have this letter for Diego Dev. I'm like, I'll come get it. So I go get it. I resend it in, and I don't know what happened. I guess they never got it. So they penalized us $250 for failure to submit paperwork.
You know what that means, Thomas? We have to kick you out of Slack again so we can recover those costs.
Oh, that's upsetting.
Owning a business is fun, or not.
Doesn't sound like it. Yeah.
I'm adding complexity to it because I'm starting to bully Tom. I'm starting to bully John into starting a charity with me, and I think that's going to be our next. Well, might not be our next big adventure. Actually, we might have
Are
another big surprise
taking
for
on
you.
like another thing.
I think so. This is something that we should have done from the beginning that we chose not to. Go ahead, John.
We are.
No, we're
We're
totally
separate
doing
things
that.
that we have to discuss, but we can't talk about either of them right now.
I'm glad you
But the
brought it up then.
The
Yeah.
charity we can talk about because that's
But
probably
we're
what
not
we're
doing
doing.
that. We keep talking about
But we
that's
are.
more work.
No, I know. That's why I said you weren't going to like me because I was going to do it. But yeah, no, we're totally going to do it. So we're gonna be starting a charity, Thomas. And the cool thing about it is we'll probably move like SDPHP and San Diego Laravel group under it, which makes sense. And then there's
That's
actually
charity.
a
He means
function
nonprofit.
behind the charity.
Yeah, to hoard money, right?
Yeah, you're right. I said charity. I do mean nonprofit. That's true. We are starting a nonprofit, not a charity.
501c3.
Yeah, exactly. So I just need John to fill out the paperwork. I don't know why it's taking him so long. He's really dragging his feet on this one.
As long as you guys don't become a corporation, I'm fine with that.
Well,
I'm
not
Might
yet.
be soon.
I am getting so mad at corporations.
Why?
Well, okay, last time we talked, you asked me if I'd seen Mr. Robot yet,
Correct.
which I had not. But boy, there's a great sequence in the first episode of this season where he just rips apart corporate mentality, corporate lifestyle, and
But the
digs
reality of it
into
is, that's such an easy target. Anybody can do that. It's an easy. They didn't do anything revolutionary there.
But
They
didn't.
regurgitated the same hippie stuff that's been regurgitating for years about
Yes.
corporations.
But it was done very self-aware and very smartly, and it welled up in me how
what was
much
that
I
word?
hate
What
corporations.
was that word? Smartly?
Smartly.
That's not what you said, but okay. I just
Well,
thought that was a weird word. Smartly.
I'll fix it in editing.
I got it in post. Don't worry.
Yeah. But it made me think about what corporations are doing right now in America and how incredibly destructive it is and how everyone is just sort of aware of it and can't do anything.
They're literally running the country. I mean, that's
Correct.
all.
Yeah. If you look at the power that corporations yield, there's no comparison. There's no person who holds any power even remotely close to the corporations of America. Our tax system is based off of making corporations happy. Our laws.
John, did you hear the doom and gloom music before you started the soapbox thing? Because I just want to
That
make
would've-
sure.
No, I didn't want to give it away.
One doom and gloom segment of show. I mean, we're early here, and he's already going down this path. I just want to know where we're at here.
So here's my take, and what I don't understand is the whole we're going to cut taxes for the businesses. I'm a business owner. I'd love taxes cut. Don't get me wrong, but
Right.
I don't understand this whole if we cut taxes for businesses, they're going to hire more people. That's bullshit. I don't care what you say. The fact that my family, who luckily doesn't listen to this show, touts that crap because they're Republicans through and through, and they're like, and they say that, and they're the ones being affected by this because they're not going to be hired no matter what because of cutting taxes for companies is not going to get them hired. I believe if you're a company, you hire for what you need. Cutting taxes just increases your profits. You're not going to hire more people. If you need more people, you're going to hire them. So the whole trickle down thing is crap, and it pisses me off every time I hear it.
Yeah, it's been proven by many economists to be complete crap, and yet people still stick to it. And if you look at how laws are now written in America, in most cases, the law is written by a lobbyist and given to a senator or congressman, and they propose it in Congress. We're not even writing our own laws anymore. It's completely ridiculous. There are systems that every country other than America has adopted that we simply can't because corporations hold too much power. Our tax preparation system is completely owned by the tax preparation companies.
Where are you going with this, Thomas? You're ranting. Do you have a direction?
A direction?
Yeah.
I thought you said erection.
I know you have an erection.
Whenever a little bit.
In the government, you get a little chubby down there. Jeez, where are you going with this, brother?
I think that the corporate personhood issue is just unbelievably awful. The fact that a corporation can say, my free speech rights, why can't I do this because of my free speech? Corporations don't have fucking free speech. They're corporations, they're entities. They're
people. They're people. It's been set
right
in the courts that they're people.
Right, which is absolutely insane to me.
Yep.
And that's the direction that we're just still going. However, here in Colorado, there is a man running for city council in Boulder who plans to completely give up his vote to an app that he wrote.
Really?
Huh?
So basically, the constituents get to vote on every piece of legislation?
Every single thing that takes a vote, it's completely based on the constituents' opinions.
That is fascinating to me.
It's a concept called liquid democracy. And it's totally not perfect. There are serious problems with it where minorities can get completely outrepresented and get completely shut out of communities. However, having a person in between acting as the sort of mediator for whether or not something is morally okay is a new step.
Using this as a tool is something that they should have done a long time ago. It's like, why isn't this a regular thing where everybody in Senate or Congress who represent a large group of people, they need to have some visibility on what the thought process is and
they would argue that they have that by you contacting them about issues you care about, and if you don't contact them, then you're
so 50 years ago. That's 50 years ago.
I agree.
We've moved forward.
Yeah, I've called my senator. I've called my senator in the past, and I was immediately given the impression that he was never going to hear my statement or care. And Ajit Pai, who's the head of the FCC,
you were not given that impression.
Oh yeah.
That is what? Every time I've ever talked,
it always feels like a canned response.
When you call in, when you call into somebody who has a set opinion on something and is voting along some line that they've drawn, you get the response, "Thank you, we'll let him know. Goodbye."
Mm-hmm.
And that's it. That's all you get. And that's totally bullshit. I mean, because I'm never going to know how many people called in and made the same statement as me. I'm not going to know if he's even representing my district in the way that he should. Mm-hmm. I won't know until election time whether or not people are also pissed off at him. Our current system has shunned technology so much that it's amazing that anyone has any faith in our voting system whatsoever. And so I think systems like this collective consciousness about the voting issues is really a great move forward.
If it's transparent, if it's just him collecting data and then just saying what he wants to happen is what the response was.
It is an open source platform.
Is it really?
It is an open source platform, and he does not believe that he is going. He does not believe that he is going to win the election, but he does want to promote the use of this kind of democracy-based technology. And so this is his attempt. He wrote the software, and he wants people to adopt it.
So why does he not think he's going to win? Is he not trying? Is it just a kind of
city council in Boulder is probably a pretty rough fight. I don't think he's politically aligned with anything. I don't think he is running on a platform other than this platform.
Oh, I see. He's not running as a Republican or a Democrat. He's just running saying, "Hey, if you elect me, your voice will be heard."
Right. So he could be a Republican or a Democrat. It doesn't matter because it's up to the people behind the app. It's up to the voters in each individual instance to decide what they are. So yeah, it's an interesting platform, and I really wish there was a lot more transparency in our government, and just I hope to God Equifax crashes and burns, because what a perfect case to show how corporations wield way too much power.
The fact that they profited from it, the owners profited from it by selling before releasing the information, and they're making money off of the fraud protection that they're offering is crap.
Correct. And so freezing accounts. I agree. And businesses have, so far, 0 businesses have said they will stop using Equifax. So all they did was hurt all of us as the product, but no one cares.
I think businesses aren't thinking because they're like, well, we use all 3, so us stopping using them doesn't change anything.
Yeah. And then the IRS came out and said, you probably shouldn't worry about the Equifax breach because your information has already been breached 1 million times over before, so it's not really as big a deal as the news is making it out to be. My wife, we saw a news story about this, how bad this was, and she said, well, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to freeze all of our accounts. It's going to cost, $15 or whatever per the big 3 companies, and we'll be safe. I said, no. The process for unfreezing an account uses the information that was leaked. There's no way to secure the information now. The information is out, and it is forever insecure. As long as we still rely on the social security number and address information, it's just out now. So, freezing your account's just going to cost you $45. That's all it's going to do. It won't make you any more secure against people who have your information, because that's the information they use to unfreeze your account.
Yeah, it's not like there's an Equifax and Experian on every corner that you can go to and say, here's my driver's license, I am who I say I am.
Right, and having your driver's license, that doesn't... I got my new driver's license. They mailed it to me, has a picture of me.
Yeah, that's true.
Requires very little information.
And I don't think the credit companies have your fingerprint on file, although they might. Who knows?
They do. I actually know that they have mine. But yeah, something has to change. It's such a nightmare, and nothing is changing because corporations don't want it to.
All right, we need to move on. We've been talking about this way too long.
Please, let's move on.
I agree with you, Thomas, a lot. But
for anybody interested, we're going to record Lair Chat live tomorrow. They record every other Thursday, so tomorrow is one of the recordings. You can watch it live, or you can subscribe to it on the podcast. But they have an interesting topic tomorrow. I figured I'd give you guys a preview and kind of throw it out there and get your thoughts and opinions on it. They're doing a talk that was kind of inspired by a couple of blog posts talking about how there's 2 aspects to it. All right, the way the topic was presented in our little internal Slack channel was management faults are developer faults, where when projects go sideways because of decisions that management made, and things go sideways because of directions developers decide to go in. That's kind of the general conversation piece, and everybody's supposed to bring to the table, just kind of past stuff. I don't know why it was so important for me to be on this show. They just wanted to make sure that they were talking about issues that managers make, and they just wanted to make sure I was going to be able to make it. So I felt weird about that. But
they actually wanting to know about management fails versus dev fails.
I wondered why they were calling me too, because they were asking me about what you've done as a manager recently.
I replied to it.
I saw you reply to it. I was like, hey, I know that guy.
I dumped all over Eric, but that's okay.
There's a couple of really good posts out there that kind of began that topic. And we can link to these as well. I probably should have posted them to Trello. I'll do that right now. But they talk about a company's decision to fire their top talent. Mainly because
I read that.
Oh, did you read this? Yeah.
I read the response article about how stupid that was.
You read that one too. Okay, that was that was the other article I was going to mention, and then there's a follow-up article on that as well. I don't know. I mean, I can kind of see both sides of this, and I've worked in places where there's been an individual there who was like the shit, and they knew they were the shit, and that became kind of toxic. Like, it became anti-productive because of that. So I don't know. I mean, there's so many layers to this. It harpens back for me. It harpens back to when I first got into the industry, and I'm sure you guys experienced this as well, because it went on for a very long time. But there was definitely a niche in our industry where your knowledge was your value, and like, you did not share that knowledge. Like, if you were a network person, you didn't talk about how you did networking. You didn't share how computers talk to one another, because that was your value. And if you shared that, then you reduce your value to the company. And
see that's where I disagree. Back in the late 90s, when I first got into working, I worked for a travel company at the time, and the amount of times I heard them talk about their previous developer and how he kept everything secret, where I was quite the opposite. I shared everything, because the more I taught them, the more I showed them, the more they valued what I knew, and they assumed I knew way more. And the more I showed them, the less I had to do. So I didn't hold those secrets.
I think you were part of that. I was the same way. Like, by this time, I was working for this Fortune 500 company, but I had already been in around technology enough, and I had already started embracing the open source philosophies of technology, that sharing was what I wanted to do. Like, I felt like it was my duty to make sure everybody understood how this stuff worked. But straight up, I mean, these guys are getting paid good money, and I would go to our networking team and ask about something as simple as a DHCP range, and they would refuse to tell you anything.
Yeah, I've experienced that too.
It was such a weird time, and this when I was reading this article about this developer, not exactly the same story. It was more of they kept making a lot of references to Rick and Morty, and that whole Rick mentality of I'm such a genius, you can't understand what it is I'm telling you, which I worked with those people as well. But it was kind of the same thing though. It's like, I'm gonna do it because I'm the only one that can understand this. You guys are so stupid. Just sit there and let me get this stuff done mentality. So what are your guys' opinions of that? I mean, what do you think about if you're in a situation where you're responsible for the super talented person who clearly knows what they're doing, who knows how to write code, who writes code efficiently? It's not even like they take a long time to write code, but in general are toxic individuals and are doing things in a way that makes the rest of the team struggle to embrace, whether it's their patterns, whether it's their workflow. What do you guys think about that?
Toxic's got to go.
Just that's your bottom line. Toxic goes.
Bottom line, yeah.
Yeah.
You can't be too comfortable in your position. Everybody's replaceable. I've always thought that, no matter how long I've been working, everybody's replaceable. If you are so comfortable that you are a dick to the team or to management, you can be replaced. There's no.
I wholeheartedly disagree.
You're wrong.
About toxic having to go. I worked in an environment that was all programmers.
Okay.
So literally for their lunch, they all got up at the same time, made protein shakes, and then went out to the warehouse and worked out for the lunch period.
That was exactly their lunch. Programmer is, but okay.
And their mentality was along the lines of what you would expect, is, make money, get bitches, that kind of thing. That was their whole mentality. And I'm not that. Very much not that. And because of that, I did not mesh with the team. And I could have been considered toxic because I didn't mesh with them in any way whatsoever.
That doesn't make you toxic, though.
No, but to them it did. To them, I wasn't grooving with the environment. To them, I wasn't fitting in with the guys. And they said, yeah, we really need you to take some time and come work out with us. It's a bonding thing. It's good for the company. It's good for us. And I'm like, yeah, that's great. I go have lunch with my wife every day. I don't do the same things you guys do. That's cool, but it's just not me. And I don't have that conversation about the chicks last night or the baseball beer league that you're in, And I just did not mesh with them at all. And they had a problem with it.
You have a good point. Very good point.
And I did eventually leave because just the environment wasn't the right environment for me. But to be fired for that is a different story. And they make it clear. They make it clear in this story that they didn't try to communicate with this person whatsoever until the day they fired him.
No, I don't think that's what they really said. I would have to read the whole article again, but I don't know. I mean, I'm sure they're brushing over, broad stroking a few of the things because it was a blog post and they weren't going, bullet point by bullet point of what was done and when it was done. But I don't know. I mean, I read it as it was, I don't know. I would have to read it again. We'll post these links in the show notes. Definitely worth the read, if for no other reason, so that you can kind of get an understanding of. I mean, this is a real world thing. This type of stuff happens all the time, and it's just it's, again, we talk about it a lot. It's human nature. You get enough people together, there's going to be disagreements. There are going to be people who don't see eye to eye, who have different personalities, who have different ways of approaching things. The question becomes, when does this become counterproductive, and how do you decide how to address it? It's like they could have just as easily, for this rock star dynamite coder, had gone to the rest of the team and said, if you can't deal with this guy, then you guys go find something else because he's carrying the company right now. And of course, the way they position it in this article, they're very general. You have no way of researching this, but
they're the heroes.
They said that they let this guy go. They let the development team bond. Everybody got together, started troubleshooting and solving problems, and basically reworked the entire application in a short amount of time and went to launch. And it's like, you got to hope that's true, but yeah.
Yeah. So Thomas had me thinking there quite a bit. Obviously, my opinion or perception of toxic was different than his. So when it comes to being toxic, it's more toxic to the company in a developer that feels like they're holding something over the company's head is toxic. They need to go. Right. Obviously, in your situation, that's completely different. And you brought up a great point that I had not thought about previously.
But I still personally wouldn't categorize that as being toxic. But
he's coming from a group. If you have 3 or 4 developers that all hang out, and you have one person that doesn't,
they all go play never invited to the party.
They all go play Ultimate.
If you don't play Ultimate with me, you're toxic. You got to go.
Yeah.
So I see where you're coming from.
But
we also have a different direction.
We also have to realize it's Thomas. We already know he's toxic.
Yeah, no, I don't fit in.
Sure.
All right, so I was listening to. I said, "So man,
you're changing gears. You're changing gears. We're taking a 5-minute.
Because you take too long to change.
We're taking a 2-minute break.
What is with you, old man? What is with you, old man?
John requested it. Not me.
Go. Nobody knows I'm all alone. It's now the secret Showcom corner. To all our listeners out there who are watching the live stream, this is Showcom's time. I'm going to show you guys around my office. This is my office. That's my Batman collection up there. Oh, wait, somebody's coming back.
What are you doing?
Huh?
Are you talking to the chat?
No, there's nobody in chat.
You are. Us. It's David.
Ah! David! Slackers! David is watching us. I thought I was by myself. Dude, I am not even kidding how much pain I'm in nowadays. It is not even funny. I mean, me being able to... Like, me walking right now is starting to be... is becoming a larger and larger challenge. Oh, man. It sucks. It sucks so bad.
What is it? Is it joint? Is it a joint thing?
Yeah, no, it's an Achilles thing. So I have an issue with one of my Achilles where I've got this scar tissue built up. So my Achilles is all jacked up. It's been jacked up for a long time, and I've been limping around on it. But because of the way I've been compensating for it, now my right ankle is completely jacked up.
Yeah, my wife's mom had the same problem. That overcompensation gets you.
I know. Dude, it is so fucking hot here. I mean, it is like 90 degrees every day still. So fucking hot.
Right now, it's 48 degrees. So nice.
All right, ready to get started?
Clap check. 3, 2, 1.
Close enough.
I was listening to another podcast, and I've told you guys in the past how pretty much my entire
office manager's getting frisky.
Office movement from the office. We just took a break. You couldn't have gotten up and walked in. I'll be right back. Let's go. Let's start that over. I was listening to another podcast, and I've told you guys in the past about how much of my life I've gotten boiled down to my to-do list, and how much I feed so many other feeds into my to-do list now, and it's super beneficial. So, excuse me. Sometimes I think I say it just because I say so thirsty. Because there's something in my mind that said, "Man, I need a shot of scotch. Let's have this guy say so a couple times." It's been super beneficial, and I've shared some of this with John. One of the cooler things I do is on a couple of our projects for Diego Dev, every time a pull request is open, it creates an entry in my to-do list. And then a couple times a week, I go into a special list I have that has all my PRs, and I start clicking through the PRs, and it gives me an opportunity to review the PRs that were open, see which ones were closed, and then I kind of start to track the ones that stay open for a long time. So things like that have been really beneficial. And I have other feeds, like one of our clients has a ticketing system that will feed into my to-do list. But the problem I'm having is my to-do list is really kind of growing exponentially. And I have a lot of
stuff on your list.
Well, I do. And I have some filters in place that help me stay focused on, it filters out the PR requests, and it filters out, certain things that aren't urgent. But I noticed that I was still losing hard things I needed to get done. And I heard on a podcast today about a technique that I think I'm going to try. I'm going to try a variation on it. And I forget what they called it. They called it like an Ivy League or something. Cool idea. What it boils down to, though, is I now have a list on my to-do list called My 6 Things. And I have to put 6 things in there. Those are the 6 things I'm working on for that given day. All that other noise that I have on my to-do list, I'm going to try to teach myself to not look at until I address these 6 things. And what's cool is, or one of the philosophies are, you're supposed to do it in order. I don't know if I'm going to hold true to that just because the way my day works, but you have 6 things, and as you check things off, if you don't get through all 6 in a given day, which you think about it, trying to get 6 real tasks done in a given day is pretty substantial. But if you don't get all 6 done, then what's left rolls over to the next day. So I think I'm going to try to work this kind of workflow for a while, where I have a special list now of 6 things that these are the things I'm focused on. And then I'll dive into my other lists for my follow-up, checking PRs, checking tickets, and things like that. I've been struggling with focus lately, and it's not so much a lack of focus where I'm daydreaming. It's just so many things coming at me, so many issues needing to be addressed, that I can't stay on task. I will have a task, and I cannot get through and finish a task because somebody else is pulling me in. I'm still not sure how I'm going to address that. I've been trying to silence out Slack a little bit, for especially our internal company Slack, because we really have the project set up at work where we have leads in all of our projects, and they can kind of manage themselves. And I know John's mentioned he's already kind of done this, where he doesn't look at Slack unless he's explicitly mentioned. I think I'm going to try to start taking the same approach. The only caveat I have to that is we're in Slack channels with clients as well, and those I have a tendency to kind of keep a closer eye on because they're a client. But I need to come up with a discipline where I don't know. I don't know if it's John. You give me your opinion on this because I'm really curious what you think. Do you think it's overstepping some sort of boundary to say, "Hey, listen, I'm not available," and I'm talking about to clients as well. I'm not available from 10 to 1 every day, like 10 to 1 o'clock. Only if you call me, it needs to be an emergency because I'm basically that's my time.
No, you're not overstepping bounds at all, and lots of people do that. As far as going back to your your list you're talking about, I often see people doing an 80-20 list. So
80-20?
Yeah, you're breaking your tasks into these 20% of my tasks will yield 80% of my business. So you're talking about a static number of 6. It's what is most important, what's going to give me the biggest bang for my buck today. And it's task pruning. It's making sure you're focusing on the right pieces and not just looking at your entire list. Because it's so easy to focus on the easy to knock out things. But focusing on the yeah. And actually, a place I used to work, their big thing was the 80-20 FTF. So FTF is often referred to as first things first. He referred to it as feared things first. So something that's on your 80% list, or however you're organizing it, whatever's going to give you your biggest bang, if it's there for more than a day or so, you need to move that to your FTF. And he called it his feared things first. There's a reason you're not getting to this task right now. You think it's going to take longer than it might. You're afraid of it for some reason, or you just don't want to do it. So this is what I need to work on first. Then I'm going to work on the things that are going to give me the biggest bang for my buck. And then once all of that's done, then I can work on these other crap tasks.
And I think that was, I think, again, kind of the same philosophy. The whole doing things in order, I think that's the same approach as where you have to do it in order, because if you don't get to number 4, the number 4 becomes number 1 the next day, and you're forced to address it. Yeah. Mm-hmm. I see what you're saying there. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense.
And as far as having office hours, or hey, I'm only going to check my email these 2 times a day, there's nothing wrong with having that boundary. You're not on call 24/7. So it's just a matter of you set aside the thing you need. If you don't answer that call right away, you can call them back. They're not expecting you to answer it.
I think I used to. Well, I think they are nowadays. That's part of the problem. But I think I took for granted that I would always have the free time to work, to focus on things after hours. That's why I used to be excited when 5 o'clock rolled around. Not because I stopped working at 5 o'clock. It's because 5 o'clock was the time pretty much everybody else stopped working, including our clients would all go home. And I would take that time and say, okay, the next 4 or 5 hours of the night are my time to get things done. And I've always been pretty comfortable with that, but I noticed that like the last couple of weeks, that's been a struggle for me because of a couple of issues that have been going on in life and family, and having to address things. And I really start to panic. It's like, man, I'm getting behind because I'm not working my typical 12-hour day. I'm not working 14 hours. I had to stop at 5 o'clock today, and I haven't been able to get back to my computer. And I was thinking about it over the weekend because I shared with you earlier, John, it's for the second weekend in a row, I didn't have time to do things. And when Monday rolls around, I feel so far behind on Monday. And this week, I just thought about it. I'm like, man, I've got to do a better job at managing work hours during work hours and stop depending on these after hours slots to catch up every day. And so I don't know. It's a weird. I don't know if I'm not saying that I'm going to only work 8 hours a day. I don't think that's realistic or even possible, especially the position we're in. But I definitely think that during the workday, I'm going to try to get a more structured, especially with the clients, saying, okay, here are the times where you can call me whenever you want, but this slot during the day, the middle of the day, you only call me if it's an emergency, because I'm either dealing with the team or I'm working on stuff.
Yeah, I appreciate that, but I don't think you even need to go. You can go that far. I've seen other people do that, but you don't have to be at the beck and call. Unless you have something scheduled, you don't have to answer that call right away. Just,
do you really feel that way? You really feel that way?
No. It's hard when a client.
I'm curious. I'm not gonna hold it against you. Yeah. Okay. I will say, if I was a paid employee or even a paid contractor, yeah, I guess I would agree with you. But I think in the position we're in, I don't agree with you.
You're correct. Anytime a client calls, I want to answer the phone. I want to be there. But anytime I haven't, it's not like there's been backlash. So there's understanding there. It's like, oh, they're not available. They leave a message. I call them back and everything's good. But when I see the call come in, I do feel that obligation, like, oh, crap, it's a client. I need to answer right now. So I understand where you're coming from, but I don't think it's negative if you don't answer right away.
Fair.
Because there are times you could be on a call with doing something else. I mean, that's
fair.
Yeah.
All right, how are we doing on time? Because how are we doing? Wow, we are hurting here. Okay, I gave you guys homework last week. I gave you homework.
What?
Do you guys?
No, you didn't.
Do you remember? I totally gave you homework.
You did not.
Yeah, he did. We were supposed to hack into his. Never mind.
John, do you remember? I said I'm going to bring this up in the next show. I'll give you guys a heads up to put some thought behind it.
And I did.
I probably didn't. What was it?
Tom's like, well, shit, that kind of sounds familiar. My question was, can you think of any technology that is closer to fact than fiction? So something that might not necessarily be a real thing now, that might be in movies and stuff, but you think, no, we're really close to that. Like that's something that's going to happen.
Yes, the singularity. Next question. You don't see that? The singularity when machines are capable of reinventing or designing themselves at a rate that's so rapid that it occurs almost instantly.
Oh yeah. Yeah, I totally think this. Oh yeah, I completely agree with you there. That's about to happen. Yeah.
Yeah, that's totally science fiction, but with the way we're going with quantum computers and machine learning, yeah, like all of a sudden there's going to be a master machine and it will completely dominate something, probably the stock market.
John, do you have an answer?
Have you seen that Google has recently been able to imitate the hydrogen molecule? I think it was So they're making huge advances in quantum computing as it is.
Yeah, no, but it's not the huge advances in quantum computing that are going to be the thing. It's the speed at which information is passed. It's going to be a couple different technologies suddenly being brought together that is going to be the big change. I ranted about this 2 episodes ago. What are you giggling about, Eric?
Nothing. Live chat. Nothing. I got called out.
I saw that.
Because the other podcast the podcast I was referencing, one of the hosts of that podcast is listening to our show. So he called me out.
I think the singularity is going to happen. I mean, the thing about the singularity is it happens really, really fast. Is that it was
a North Meets South podcast, Thomas, in case you're wondering.
okay. I'll catch that in editing.
The singularity. We have a dualarity on this podcast where Thomas starts ranting and I continue on with another podcast.
Yes. If only we had some hilarity.
Thank you, Michael, for calling me out. John, did you have an answer?
I'm the one that brought up the whole Google piece of this.
That
No,
kind
I
of
did not have
plays
an
into
answer.
that plays into.
No, I didn't. I did not have an answer.
Right.
I'm not good with homework. I failed high school.
You
Detention.
did not
You didn't
fail high school.
Goddamn accomplished stunt pilot. What are you talking about? You failed high school.
I failed.
Oh,
I'm
geez.
not a good. I'm not good with homework.
No, I think the singularity is coming. I think it's going to be
Yeah, sure. Since you asked my
catastrophic.
opinion.
I'm sorry, I didn't ask you what you did for our homework. What did you do for our homework? I hope that's not
Oh,
whiskey.
that's good. No, I'm back there. This, I think very soon we're gonna invent these containers that keeps ice for a week. That's an inside joke between John and I. Okay, bionics. I think cybernetics. I feel like we're actually closer than we think we are to people having cybernetic enhancements as for recreation, like having like limbs replaced because cybernetics have gotten so advanced that they're better than. What was that? Was that you, John?
Now he mutes his mic. That's
What the hell was that?
I didn't.
you did it. You turned your face towards the mic and did it.
I didn't see what he did.
Funny thing is,
just
every
heard
time I've done it, I put down a time frame. Like, man, I've been muting properly, and I did not mute properly that time.
No, not even close.
Thomas, you might want to get that one in post.
Yeah, no, I'm going to crop that whole thing and put it as the intro.
I'm still lost at what happened. I just heard this noise. I thought it was Thomas because he was doing his vape thing at the time. That was okay. All right.
No,
never mind.
I know how to
Moving
use my mute button.
My kids are sick. I'm getting sick. I've been trying to hide that.
I'm never assigning homework again. You guys suck.
Thank you. I appreciate that. I hate homework.
We're getting close to VR, like real good VR.
VR's played out. Nobody cares about VR. I just went
That
through
was not
another
a good
bottle of
transition at
scotch,
all.
though. Look at this. Another bottle of scotch bites the dust. Here.
It's available at Costco again for you. I saw it.
Oh, no. I got. Trust me, this bottle wouldn't be empty unless I had another bottle in standby. So there's another bottle there. All right. What else we got? Anything? We done talking?
Are we done? we finished yet?
I got things to talk about.
I feel bad we
Telegram.
didn't cover any crypto
Underrated
stuff.
IM client or what? Yeah, I agree. Telegram, awesome. Let's see what I'm thinking about getting another tattoo. Thinking about getting John's birth date on my arm. Just what?
I thought it was
What?
already there, bastard.
You should get his dataversary on your arm.
When we started our business. Yeah, that's what I'll do. I'll get that on there. Okay, serious question. Do you guys listen to music when you code?
Yes.
No.
Okay, Thomas, you can take a break here. What do you listen to, John?
Whatever. It's very
Yeah.
eclectic. All over the board.
Yeah, so do I. I'm all on board. I get into the Def Punk stuff, like when I'm really like into coding that or rap. I'm a massive rap fan. Then I'll go as
Yeah.
far as classical music, depending on what I'm working on. So
You should try coding to the Top Gun soundtrack, because that is probably the greatest soundtrack to write code to.
how would you even think that was a good statement to make?
Because I've done it, and it was amazing.
But you don't continue to do it, so it wasn't that amazing.
It was a particular scenario. I've told you the story about the inverted hangover.
Were you wearing a leather jacket and the Ray-Ban glasses?
No,
No.
I should have. I was wearing my Gunners, my yellow screen protection glasses.
Thomas, let me ask you a question, because I am honestly curious. What does a ride out do to unwind?
Well, I have a podcast every week.
But do you do anything useful?
No, I struggle with my my lack of personal motivation and self-interest.
Yeah. You're not even
Unfortunately.
gaming anymore, are you? You used to game.
Yeah, I am. Oh no, very much so.
What are you gaming now? What are you playing?
Rocket League.
Stop.
Shadow of War. The new South Park came out, the Fractured But Whole.
I saw something about that. Yeah.
Yeah. So into that.
If you ever want to team up on Rocket League, let me know.
Absolutely.
Shut it. You better just edit that.
I'm like in the top 12%.
Stop it.
I'm actually in the top 20%
Why are you
right
talking?
now.
John, what do you do? I know you
team
play
up.
your Ultimate. You play Ultimate. What else?
I'm Platinum
Children?
3 right now.
You got 2 kids? Really?
Family.
That's awesome. Family.
Ultimate and family.
Yeah, I don't know what to do about the
Ultimate
family.
family.
My children are insane people. It's sort of driving me a little crazy.
You push through it.
I've never played
Push
Rocket
through
League,
it.
just for the record.
There is a game developer meetup that I go to here in Colorado Springs.
Oh yeah?
Yeah,
Nice.
that's a fun one. If you're looking for hardcore nerds, game developer meetup is a pretty good place to meet some hardcore nerds.
I think I saw the previews to the next movie I want to see. Well, the second next movie I want to see. Obviously, the next movie I want to see is Justice League. Not big on Thor. I know Thor's coming out here very soon. I'll go see it. Justice League is my next big one. I'm a big Batman fan. We all know that. We won't
Putting
get
money
into
on DC not being terrible still.
we won't get into the whole whether it'll be good or bad. It doesn't really matter. Batman's in it. I'm going to go see it. But I think I saw the next movie I want to see that I was really surprised that I wanted to see it. The Black Panther trailer came out. Have you seen the Black Panther trailer?
That's a little racist.
It's the
You're
name of the
surprised
movie.
you'd want to see this?
Well, Black Panther was not necessarily one of those heroes like the A-list superhero where you're like, oh, this guy is
just comes out and says it. Jesus
Stop
Christ.
it. You stop it. You stop it right now. Have you seen the trailer?
No, I like to go into things clean.
Pretty badass. I think this is the next movie I'm anticipating its release date now. I want to see this movie. And even after he made his appearance in the Avengers movie, I'm like, all right, yeah, they're trying to shoehorn another superhero into this universe. All right, whatever. I'm not that. I wasn't that excited about Ant-Man. Still not that big.
Ant-Man was good.
Nah.
Wait, Avengers have come out?
Yeah. One of them
When?
came out. A couple of them. Like 7 of them have come out now.
2.
But Black Panther looks
Gotta get rid of
badass.
the kids.
Yeah, you definitely have to get rid of the kids.
That's my problem. I would love to go see movies, but I can't leave my children alone, which is disappointing.
Your kids are old enough to take with you.
Yeah. No.
Share the love.
I'm not going to go see a movie for $100.
Oh, that's true.
Mm-hmm.
I wanted to see Blade Runner, which I can't take my kids to, or I can't
saw
take
Blade Runner.
a couple of them to.
That was the excuse I didn't get some people to my poker game this past weekend. Was I'm going to go see Blade Runner.
That was
It's
not
a
my
freaking
excuse,
movie.
but I did go see it.
Your excuse was horrible.
I was up in LA.
Well, it was no date-iversary, that's for sure.
Much better excuse. Date anniversary.
But Boom, boom. That's a good spot. I think that's a good spot to wrap this one up. What do you guys think?
I think it's a good title for the show.
I think 20 minutes ago would have been a good place to wrap up. Personally.
Yeah, I thought you were gonna push the wrap up when you saw it. We were at the 1 hour mark, but you kept asking questions. You gave us homework. Do we have homework for next week?
I just said I'm not giving you guys homework ever again because you guys did a terrible job at it.
Oh, thank you.
I always thought that tactic would work, but I'd never tried it.
All right, that's it. We're wrapping this one up. You got a whole extra day to edit this one, Thomas.
You're welcome.
All right.
I'll somehow still be late.
Yeah, that's fine. Okay, I'm Eric Van Johnson.
I'm John Congdon.
I'm Tom Rideout. Keep it ugly.
Keep it ugly.
Woo!
That was fun. I'm stopping local recording. In 3, 2, 1, stop.
Look at that. John taking the wheel, stopping broadcasting. Thank you, everybody who watch. How many people we got watching now? All three of us. That's probably the three of us. That's fantastic.
God, I can't believe I missed the